Good morning, good morning. How's everyone feeling today?
Great.
Good, I love it. How was the food?
Good.
Food was amazing? Awesome. I am Binti, I'm a peer mentor for WICMA. We honor the original people, the Anishinaabe Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwe, Adawa, Potawatomi peoples. We recognize that Grand Rapids Community College is located on the land ceded to the United States in the Chicago Treaty of 1821. We also recognize the Grand River Bands of Ottawa Indians as the descendants of the original tribes represented at this treaty signing. We express our gratitude to the original people, past, present, and future, who have stewarded this land for generations. We understand this acknowledgement must be coupled with a relationship of advocacy and support for Indigenous peoples. We recognize our responsibility to continuously uphold our commitments toward Indigenous communities. This land acknowledgement recognizes the sovereignty of Indigenous people and affirms their history and our efforts to be accountable to their needs. Next, we have Dr. Jenkins to share welcome remarks.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome.
Good morning.
Again, my name is Dr. Dwayne Jenkins, and I serve as the Dean of Students here at GRCC. On behalf of GRCC, I want to extend a warm welcome to the final installment of our Fall 2025 Diversity Lecture Series. As we near the end of the semester, I want to begin by applauding each of you for your commitment to showing up, engaging, and continuing to strengthen our community. We are close to the finish line, so I encourage you to stay focused, stay encouraged, and finish this semester strong. This fall, we were fortunate to hear from remarkable speakers who challenged us to think deeply about our institutions, our communities, and ourselves. Dr. Brandy Pritchett Johnson invited us to examine belonging and well-being. Carlos Sanchez pushed us to reflect on identity, culture, and the power of community stories. And today we have the honor of closing our fall series with Dr. Keli Christopher. As a reminder, this year's theme, Cultivating a Culture of Care, calls us to reflect on what it truly means to care. How have we cared for ourselves, for one another, and for the communities we're part of? At a time when our nation and our world continue to navigate division and uncertainty, this commitment to care is more essential than ever. As we gather today, we also recognize the richness of November's cultural celebrations, honoring the diverse histories, contributions, and voices that shape our shared experiences. This month invites us to honor Native American Heritage Month, Dia de los Muertos, Veterans Day, Transgender Awareness Week, and many other important observances that highlight the diverse histories and identities within our community. Today's speaker, Dr. Keli Christopher, will be presenting STEM education gaps and opportunities. Tackling the significant gaps in math and science achievement between different student populations remains one of Michigan's greatest educational challenges. Her work invites us to think critically about access, equity, and the future of STEM education, not only in our state, but across our nation. We're so glad you're here to be a part of this experience, and thank you. Next, I'll invite Alyssa and Gabe of the Woodruff Center to share a couple brief updates about their department. Thank you much.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Hi, everybody. If we haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Alyssa Gomez. I serve as the Associate Director of the Woodruff Center. I'm here to share a couple of updates of the center and what we've been doing the last fall as we're coming to a close here just in a couple of weeks. As you know, our department is focused on retention and completion for our Rise Up and Achieve students. Any student that walks through our doors, our focus is to help them get to their next, whatever that might be. So I wanted to share some updates. So we had the goal of hoping to have 100 students in our Rise Up and Achieve program. Currently, we have 106. So that is huge. We are very excited about that. Also, I just ran a report this morning, and all of those 106 students are also registered for winter classes, so that is a huge thing as well. I want to give a couple of highlights to our peer mentors. We have 9 peer mentors overall. We have a couple in this room. Raise your hands. Let everybody know who you are. They have been working effortlessly for the past semester, providing programming, providing just one-on-one support for other students on campus. It's always great to hear them come to our staff meetings and share out, like, one of my mentors just passed a really big accounting exam, or one of them, I was able to connect them to some resources on campus. So they keep doing a lot of the work and putting the name of the Woodrick Center and our services out to the community. We also at the Woodrick Center continue to expand our knowledge. So just this week, we attended the Zibbowing Center in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, to learn more about the Native American culture and history, and it was a really rewarding experience for not just us, but our students as well. And so we want to just thank the Zibbowing Center and everybody who put that together. Additionally, we have a lot of programming. As you might see, Diversity Lecture Series is one of those items. We also did put on at least 45 programs in the last 3 months. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming, for your support. And we're, getting out there trying to get connected to the students. Finally, one of the biggest things that we always see with our students is often those basic needs support, right? Those issues that are outside of the classroom, and you all know this as well. And one of the ways that we've been able to support the students is through some financial assistance when needed. So a couple of examples is I had a student reach out that was dealing with car trouble. You know, their brakes just went out. They needed to so they couldn't drive to class. We were able to address that car issue, and now they're successfully back in class and continuing. So that's one of the things. We had a student who was struggling with housing needs, and we were able to help get some support for him to put like the first month's rent in order to get started in that house. And so we have that success story. And then finally, we just had a student who is trying to sign up for winter classes and had a little small balance on their tuition that they needed to address in order to enroll. And so we were able to take care of that as well. So I share that to say, yes, we're doing the work, but we wouldn't be able to do that work without any of you too and your support. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And yeah, thank you. I'll call up Gabe now.
All right, there it is. All right, hello. My name is Gabe Brown. I serve as brother coordinator here in the Woodrick Center. As we look ahead to sustaining initiatives like the Diversity Lecture Series and our student engagement programs, they require your support. We invite you to consider making a donation to the Woodrick Center for Inclusion and Multicultural Affairs. Your contributions help us maintain meaningful programs, bring world-class speakers to campus, and ensure our students have safe spaces that affirm and uplift them. For ways to give, please visit GRCC Woodrick Center website to find out more information. Every gift, no matter the size, is a yes for our students, our community, and help this work continue. Your support helps us cultivate care and community at GRCC. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe. All right, before we have Linus introduce our speaker, just some housekeeping items. So the restrooms are just right outside here. Either door, you can access them. At the conclusion of our speaker's presentation, there will be a brief moment for our audience to engage and ask questions. We'll have mics that we'll bring to you if you have questions at that time. For our virtual audience, a QR code will pop up now for you to scan and submit any questions for our speaker as well. And then, for our in-person audience, you'll also be able to submit a question using the QR code or flag a staff member down to ask questions later as well. At the end of the presentation and Q&A session, please take a moment to complete our feedback survey, as we will continue to plan lecture series about based on what you like and what you dislike of the series. So please be sure to make some notes. Finally, we want to say thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to everybody who has helped put this series together. Special shout out to Steelcase for sponsoring this year's events, to Future Tech for their support, to Transfer to Bridges, our media and tech support, Connor's in the back, our ASL interpreters here, thank you so much for being here, Creative Dining, and everybody else for joining us. So let's give everyone a round of applause. Okay, now I will introduce Linus.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's talk, STEM Education Gaps and Opportunities. I'm Linus Cackley, Program Coordinator for the Future Tech Careers Program here at GRCC. Future Tech is thrilled to be partnering with the Woodrick Center for today's event to advance our aligning missions of fostering cultural competence and inclusion at GRCC, as well as bridging the gap between education and employment for STEM students. So I have the honor of introducing today's speaker, Dr. Keli Christopher. Dr. Christopher is a visionary leader, educator, and advocate whose life's work has been dedicated to reshaping the landscape of STEM education for students of color. As the founder and CEO of STEM Greenhouse, she's built an organization that not only provides transformative educational experiences, but also actively challenges systemic barriers that prevent underrepresented youth from pursuing opportunities in STEM fields. A trailblazer in her own right, Dr. Christopher made history as the third Black woman globally to earn a PhD in agricultural engineering. Her journey through a predominantly white male academic environment illuminated the inequities within education and inspired her commitment to diversifying STEM fields. Through STEM Greenhouse, she has worked tirelessly to ensure that under-resourced students have access to high-quality education, mentorship, and hands-on learning, empowering them to thrive in competitive global industries. Dr. Christopher's leadership has garnered widespread recognition. Among her personal accolades are the North Carolina A&T SU College of Agriculture and Natural Resources Distinguished Alumni Award, the Nolan Gross Business Leadership Award, and the 2024 Woman of the Year honor from the West Michigan Women Brilliance Awards. Her work also reflects the collective accomplishments of STEM Greenhouse, which has been honored with the Michigan Governor's Service Award for Youth Impact and the Guiding Light Award from the Iota Pi chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Through her innovative vision and unwavering dedication, Dr. Christopher has transformed STEM Greenhouse into a catalyst for change, one that uplifts not only individual students, but entire communities. Her story is a testament to the profound impact of education, equity, and representation, demonstrating that breaking barriers in STEM is not only possible, but essential for the future. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Keli Christopher.
We're going to start with a quick video. This was a recap of our 10th anniversary that we celebrated last year. Is it gonna? Okay. I'm Dr. Keli Christopher. I'm the CEO and founder of the STEM Greenhouse. It's an organization that is dedicated to prepare children of color for careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. When I started STEM Greenhouse, it was an opportunity to use all my creativity, everything I love and I'm passionate about. It's all in STEM Greenhouse. It was just me. I remember as first I started doing math programs for girls, and many of those girls are in college now. That's how long ago it was. But one of the reasons I did that was because when I was growing up, I never knew a woman who liked math. And I wanted to be that example for some other child, that they could go into math too, that they could become an engineer too.
I have a love for something that most people don't. I love mathematics. I've loved mathematics for probably since 3rd grade. And that love has changed for different reasons over the years. At first, it was kids like things they're good at. And originally, I was just good at math. It became easy. And then as I got older, I got to college, I realized I liked helping other people understand math. And I also like helping other people see that math is more than just a subject. It's a way of thinking. It's a tool that's really powerful. And when I was a teacher, you can only affect, I don't know, maybe 120 students a year, just because that's how many kids are in a high school class total. And Dr. Christopher came with this opportunity for me to have such a larger impact on more than just a local, a couple 120 kids. And so I just feel like this organization was the perfect opportunity that just lined up perfectly.
Over the years, I really look back and just wonder, how in the world did Dr. Christopher do all this by herself? She technically was doing all these roles that she's now filled by herself. And I think I'm still trying to grasp, how in the world did she do this? What I love about her is that as we were growing, we've had some candid discussions, with growth comes pain, and how do we grow the organization and enhance the programming and, make it continuous, so that it's a lifetime with these students.
We're teaching you how to navigate challenges as a person of color in this world. And especially in the STEM world, the challenges could be immense, depending on what path you take. And changing that mindset, changing that way of thinking is kind of at the core of STEM Greenhouse's mission, outside of the academic piece. I've had a student who had probably one of the worst test scores in their building. Was told to me by the teacher, said, hey, good luck with this one. I don't know how this is gonna turn out for you. And in my program in STEM Scholars, we take a pre-test and a post-test. And that student had the biggest growth in that class and also improved their MAP scores by, I believe, 12 to 15 points, which is almost unheard of in a school year. That kind of is a testament to, we take anyone. We don't just take you if you have a 4.0. We don't just take you if the teachers like you. We will take you where you're at. We'll meet you where you're at. And we'll walk with you so that hopefully when you walk out of the high school doors and out of our programming, you're able to stand tall and walk on your own and bring other people with you.
Thinking about the next 10 years for STEM Greenhouse, honestly, the opportunities are endless. And I feel like just like I wouldn't have imagined being here, I like in 10 years, I'll say to myself, I couldn't even have told you what it's gonna be that much, there's gonna be that much growth. There's gonna be that many more students impacted.
10 years ago, I graduated high school. So that seems like such a 10 years, like that's almost your entire school, almost like K through 12. Like it's such a long time. It really speaks to the resilience of Dr. Christopher to do this for 10 years. I can't imagine how many no's she had to go through, how many maybes, or how many, lost contacts and promises that weren't fulfilled. And for her to still be here, for her to, this, like I said, the physical manifestation of the space is truly a symbol of that 10 years. This is the result of when you have a dream and you just keep pushing for that dream. You can make it happen.
This program is going to expand beyond the borders of Michigan. With the right partnerships, we can grow the minds of every kid in the United States. And I say that wholeheartedly because I believe we can do it. I believe she can do it. I believe she can bring on the partnerships that she needs to grow the minds of our students. She's really honed in and really is able to advocate. And I'm privileged because I get to hear her really advocate for the community and the students of the area, and how all students should have an opportunity to thrive. And she fights hard, and I think not too many people see that part in those conversations. So when I hear her, sometimes my eyes do get watery because I can feel her heart for the students and what she's trying to accomplish here.
I think it's important for all children to have an opportunity to experience Black excellence, and sometimes when it's a foundation, sometimes when it's a school, not everybody is used to seeing Black people in a position to do excellent work. what we could do if we just had the opportunities and the resources. But I think that is so powerful for our young people to see that, to know that they can do what I do, they can do what you do, or this is inspiring to them. All right. Now, that space that we showcased in that video, that's at Innovation Central High School. We have a partnership with GRPS and the high school. And one of the interesting things, you may have noticed that the spaces there had I actually gave them like a Black Panther Wakanda theme. And so just like in the movies, Shuri has laboratories and they have murals and things on the walls, and that's what I wanted for this space. But I have kind of a unique story about that. So I would say maybe 5, 6 years ago, I was doing a strategic plan. I had someone helping me with a strategic plan, and they said, well, you need to find another organization that does STEM work and take a look at them, study them, see what resources they have. And so there's only really one community organization that does STEM education, and they don't do what I do, but it's similar. So I took a look at their tax returns and everything, and their resources. And that organization has a $2.2 billion endowment, okay? And at that time, I had a budget of about $28,000 a year. And I remember, and at that time, like, I'm winning awards, I'm making miracles happen with $28,000 because I wasn't paying myself, but still. So I told the lady who was working on my strategic plan, I said, if I had the same resources as that organization, Grand Rapids would look like Wakanda. We would give me $2.2 billion and see what happens. So then when I had been doing a lot of middle school programming, and when it came time to do a high school program, I knew what theme I wanted, and I knew I wanted a different space. Because, and I don't know, we all have different cultural backgrounds, but if I come to your home, I can probably tell what cultural background you come from. So if you come to my house, you're going to see a lot of African art, you're going to see a lot of Black faces on the walls. I did not want to create a STEM program for children of color that just look like everybody else's STEM computer labs and science labs. If I had a chemistry, one of my staff said, if my chemistry lab looked like this, I may be a doctor right now. But because we just kind of default to the same thing, and that's one of the areas that we have opportunities for growth. Before I get into this talk, and thinking of the theme of belonging and everything, in my bio, they mentioned that when I got my PhD, I was the third Black woman in the world to get a PhD in agricultural engineering. But I was also, I was the first Black person to get a PhD in agricultural engineering at the University of Illinois. Now, why would I even go into a field with so few Black people? That's, a question. And let me give you some history on that. So I was a student at North Carolina A&T State University. I had just finished my sophomore year, and I participated in the summer research program at Cornell University. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to an Ivy League institution, and I'm going to be doing research over the summer. This is going to be really cool. I bet these people are just going to be, geniuses up in here. So I go, and in the summertime at a university, there's only graduate students, and I had just finished my sophomore year, and I'm working with people over the summer who have PhDs or are getting PhDs, working on their PhD. And I'm in there and I'm thinking, man, you mean to tell me average white guys are getting PhDs in engineering? I thought you had to be a genius or something. Like, I did not realize that it wasn't as special as I thought. I'll put it that way. But it also showed me, because I was able to get in the mix just with them. I just, with my sophomore education, I knew the same stuff they knew. And I said, well, I really started to realize that I was not just a top Black student. I was just a top student, period, in the country. And so when it came time for me to go to graduate school, and I decided to go to University of Illinois, it was one of the top engineering schools in the country, I did not put my race or my gender on my application because I knew I was a top student, period. And first of all, I didn't want to take any resources away from any other person of color who might be applying, but I also knew that I belonged there. Well, I go to the University of Illinois, and even though I know that I didn't sneak into the University of Illinois by some minority way, nobody else knew that. I was treated like, you don't really belong here. You really don't have the chops to be at a top engineering university. I had to continuously prove myself in every class that I was a top student. And I would say this is not only, white people who gave me that treatment. Every time I ran into a black person, they were like, oh yeah, are you on the one fellowship for black people? I'm like, no. And at the time I had a fellowship from the National Science Foundation, which was really one of the top fellowship programs in the country. The university only had a couple of them. And so it was just, I cannot go walk around telling everybody that I did not get here on some minority scholarship. And I remembered at one point, because I wasn't receiving notifications about opportunities for black students when they were getting together and everything, and a dean looked into it and they said, well, the university has you listed as a white female. That's why you're not getting any of these opportunities. And so I don't know if white was just the default. If you didn't put your race on there, they just said you're white. Or they said maybe, because they did say I was a woman, maybe they thought Keli Christopher sounds like a white girl to me, so they just, put Keli Christopher as white female. But before I graduated, I did go to the registrar's office and have that changed because I wanted history to show that a black person did get a PhD out of that department. And so I did that. But that brings me to some other things about belonging. I'm sort of dating myself here, but if you ever watched Sesame Street, back in the 80s, they used to have this, one of these things is not like the others, some of these things are kind of the same. And they would have like 3 pieces of fruit in a truck, and you had to guess which one didn't belong, okay? So I remember going to a national ag engineering conference once, and the speaker who was giving the keynote address, he showed a picture of like some astronauts, some people who were about to go into space, and all of them were white men, except there was one like Middle Eastern person. And he said, one of these people don't belong. And I remember thinking, like, this is just the environment that I'm in. I never really felt like I belonged. However, one of the things that really made a difference for me was that even though I wasn't treated like I belonged, I knew I belonged to be there because I had the competency, I had that knowledge, and I knew I deserved to be in those spaces. So for example, let's just say we had a group full of surgeons, heart surgeons. And even if you were a white man and you were in that space with all those heart surgeons, when you're having conversations with them, you probably would feel like you don't belong because you don't know what they know. And oftentimes when we talk about STEM or education, care is a part of it, but competency is a part too. Because for you to feel like you belong in that space, you need to have that knowledge base. And it happens with college students. If they're in a classroom and they feel like they're way behind, they don't have that knowledge, now they don't feel like they belong. And it's more than I'm black. It's I don't belong because I don't know what I'm talking about, or I don't feel like I have the same knowledge as everybody else. And so I remember back when I was an engineer, before I started STEM Greenhouse, I said, all of these STEM organizations, they really have it wrong because really what helps you feel like you belong is knowing your stuff. And I wanted to do something different. So you heard all the people on my videos, we're talking about math, we're talking about science, we're talking about content knowledge. Most STEM organizations, they'll be like, well, we have a robotics team with 7 kids in it, check, STEM, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking, do the kids have the math that they need to go to college and be successful? Are they proficient? And that's sort of what we're gonna be talking about today. Okay, well, we already went through all the awards and stuff. I wish awards came with checks, okay? I get plenty of awards. Where's the money, okay? All I do is beg. So, but One of the ones and they mentioned it, but one of the ones I'm most proud of is the Michigan Governor's Service Award that STEM Greenhouse won last year. STEM Greenhouse now serves over 1,000 students a year and among our different programs. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how all of those programs got started in a minute. Well, actually, first, let me tell you how I started STEM Greenhouse completely. So at the time I was an engineer and I was invited to Gerald R. Ford Middle School to work with some girls in a summer program. And I was visiting like once a week for 4 weeks. And we were going through with the girls about this math game. And one girl was kind of struggling. And so it was a very simple math game, maybe like a 3rd grade level math game. I go up to her and I say, you know what? If you use division, I think you're going to get the answer you want. And she said, Dr. Christopher, can you remind me, what is division? Now, this child was about to go to high school. She didn't even know what the concept of division was. This was like 8 divided by 4, but she doesn't know division, and she's about to go to high school. And I thought to myself, things are way, way worse than maybe what we imagine. You know, most of us have an idea of what school is like from our own experience, but we have no idea what these children are facing today. So I decided to start STEM Greenhouse. And one of the reasons I decided to start was because I realized that the STEM education I wanted to provide, it wasn't going to happen in 1 week of camp. You see some companies around here, they think a day of coding is really helping somebody. Like, oh, you had that day, good luck becoming a computer scientist. It's our perception of what is required to get into these fields it's often because the people who are making the decisions, they don't understand where our children are coming from and the lack of the proficiency that they have. So I thought with the STEM Greenhouse, the greenhouse is a metaphor for growth. Like, we're going to not just take kids in, expose them to a career that they have there's no way that they can get in it. We're going to make sure that they have the knowledge that they need to get better. So we're growing STEM proficiency in vulnerable children to cultivate education and career success. And vulnerable children means a lot of things. It could be poor children. It could be children of color. We sometimes serve students who are children of color who are not poor, but they're in a vulnerable position, because if you are the only little Black student in your Forest Hill School District, you are in a vulnerable position, even though you technically have access to a better education, but you still need to see people of color in STEM careers. You still need to have mentors that look like you. Okay, so this is some data. This is science proficiency in Kent County. And notice that it's not Grand Rapids Public Schools. This is all the schools put together. In science, only 17% of Black 8th graders are proficient in science, compared to almost 50% of white students. 11th grade, it drops to 12.6% are proficient in science. Now, when I first started one of my programs, my after-school middle school program, I took a look at some data and I saw that not one student in that middle school was proficient in science. And this was a school that I had been to. Like, I went to this school when I grew up. And I thought, wow, how is it that not one 8th grader is proficient in science? They didn't have a science teacher for these middle school students. Math scores also, we'll review those, just terrible. So what my STEM program actually became was I was teaching science after school. And I was also doing math remediation. So it wasn't like the other STEM programs where you get to pull out some erector set and build something. I just had to teach science. I had to teach math. But the funny thing is, how do you get 12-year-olds to come after school, after they've been in school all day, to do math and science? It's not easy. I look back now, I was a little naive. You know, I'm like, well, these kids, they're going to want to go to college one day, and even though they're 12, they'll be willing to come twice a week. But what I realized in my work was that, yeah, maybe that attracted some kids at first, but what they were coming for was me, because I cared about them. And they didn't want to disappoint me, so they would keep coming. And it was the relationship that was keeping them coming. It wasn't like, oh, I want to do math every day. Yeah, you know. Now, I will say, I have found there is a secret to getting kids to do math after school, and it is flaming hot Cheetos. I can get kids to work for a whole hour of math with some flaming hot Cheetos. I don't know. I buy more Flaming Hot Cheetos than everybody in West Michigan. And sometimes and this is why I don't get hardly no state money, because they're like, well, you know, are the kids eating healthy snacks? Were they fried? I'm like, listen, I can't offer them carrot sticks for this, okay? If I want them to sit down and think and do this math, I gotta give them what they want. And so maybe I can't get no state funding because the carrot sticks are not gonna do it. Well, let's look at the math proficiency. Now wait, let me go back to the science. I will also mention at Innovation Central High School, we have science teachers working with the school to improve the content of what they're learning, give them opportunities for professional development. We want those science teachers to be supported. Same thing as in math. We want those teachers, a lot of times people blame teachers for the way things are, but the teachers don't always get a lot of support. And one of the things that STEM Greenhouse likes to do is to come alongside schools to help the teachers. Do they need some supplies? Do they need a professional development, or do they want it? We want to be there to support them. We have 5 programs now in our among the suite of custom programs for STEM Greenhouse, and it started, like I said, with the STEM Scholars, which was after school. They meet twice a week, pretty much throughout the school year. But that was a start. But what I realized, when I meet with kids after school, I pretty much am giving them the same lesson, right? But I had students who couldn't add 2 + 4 together, and I have students who are ready for geometry. It was just too wide of a spectrum of kids. So I thought I need to do some sort of program. And of course, you know, I'm working with my little $28,000. I said, I need a summer opportunity for these kids so that we can start breaking them up into, you know, for what they need. If they need basic math, we can give them basic math. If they're ready for algebra or geometry, we want to be able to give them that. So I started the Sankofa STEM Academy. Now that summer, we had 50 students. And I tell you, I did ask some white people to teach for me, and they all said no. So it just happened that every teacher was black or brown that first summer. We had 50 students. I had 5 black male teachers. Now, there are only 14 black male teachers in all of Grand Rapids Public Schools. So most kids will never get a black male teacher, but I had 5. The average student improved 2 grade levels in math computations in 5 weeks. Our kids can do it, but the thing is, we have to give our kids the same privileges that white students have. Research shows that everybody learns best from someone who is demographically similar to them. 85% of teachers are white females. So it's not really a surprise that black males are our most underperforming group. But what if 85% of the teachers were black men? We turn that around and our children can achieve, but sometimes people were like, Kelly, what curriculum did you use that summer that made those kids, you don't have to have a special curriculum. You just need a black man teaching them, because that black man does not play, okay? You're not gonna sleep. You're not gonna look sleepy. You're gonna sit up, and there are no excuses. If your parent is incarcerated, we're sorry for you, but you're here to do math today. You're a foster child. We're sorry for that situation, but you're not gonna get out of your situation if you don't learn. And we can't waste our time letting you get by because we're feeling sorry for you. It's not helping you. And so Sankofa is a really, and I have one parent who kind of in here that I noticed, but this is an opportunity to accelerate learning. But even in that Sankofa, that first year, because we were working these kids pretty hard. I'm like, why are they coming every day? They were excited to come. And the parents were like, what is going on? I had a mom, and she's actually my cousin. She had a set of twins in my program. They were in the 6th grade. And she said, she was a principal of a school. And she's like, Kelly, I don't know what you're doing over there, but my kids are waking me up to take them to this program. And she said, I can't get them to get up all school year long, but they're asking me to get up. And I'm like, the program doesn't even start till 9 a.m. And the twins were like, well, some kids get there early. But what I realized is community is also very important. Now let's think about it. Especially if you're a person of color, I don't know what it is, but we have this anti-school thing. I remember as a child, it's like if you wanted to be good in school, you were being white. You were selling out your race to be like a white person just because you're a good student. But what if we got all of those kids who want to learn and gave them an opportunity to be together, where there was no negativity because you want to excel, but actually you get supported. And that's one of the things that has made Sankofa very successful and powerful. Well, during that summer, this was during COVID because this was 2021, and we couldn't have really big gatherings or anything. And I said, well, you know what? I want to have something to present to parents at the end of the year. And so I started thinking about a video. At the time, I hadn't produced a lot of videos. I said, if I had an idea for the video, I just could see it in my mind. And as I was thinking about the video, I said, this video is gonna make me $1 million. And so we produced the video, we released it at the end of the summer. By December, I had raised $1 million, okay? But that's just, that shows you how transformative it is. Like, I found that videos were very transformative. Check out my YouTube channel, by the way. It's an award-winning YouTube channel. But also, people are hungry for something different. They're just tired of the same old thing. And so when you're a risk taker, it was risky for me to have that Wakanda theme stuff and go around to funders saying, hey, please help me support my dream of a Wakanda STEM lab, you know. But people they wanted to see something different. They tired of funding the same old things all the time. So Sankofa STEM Academy, now I can get kids, we have every type of math class in the summer, from basic math all the way to calculus, okay? But then there was another problem, which is we were getting kids in our after-school program that couldn't add single-digit numbers, and they were in middle school. They couldn't read. So, and then there was a problem with that some of our middle school students had younger siblings and they couldn't participate because they had to watch the younger sibling. So we started our Kids Count program. It was just a math-focused after-school program for kids. And then then there was another problem. Okay, I'm at a middle school. I got 20 kids in our after-school program, but the whole school, ain't no science teacher in there. You know what I mean? How do you do when there's no 7th grade science teacher, no 6th grade, what do you do? So I said, well, everybody deserves to have science. So I started this SAGE program, which stands for Sustainable Agriculture, Gardening, and Ecology. And I named it that because I didn't want to just say life, earth, and environmental science, because the school is supposed to be teaching that. But we're teaching life, earth, and environmental science with an agricultural theme. And so we started doing that. That's where we serve most of the students in our program, because we get every 7th grader, at multiple middle schools, every 8th grader. And oftentimes these students don't have that support. So I remember at one middle school, I was asking a student, what do you do when we're not there? Because this is only a 1-semester program. And the kid said, well, every couple of weeks we just watch Bill Nye the Science Guy. That's not gonna help you. I mean, we need our kids to be ready, and they're not getting what they deserve. And then again, like I said, I did STEM Scholars 2.0 because now I have all these middle school students. I've been working with them, doing all the things, and they're 13 years old. How do we get them across the finish line? They still need mentorship. This is some information that just kind of proving impact and success from our various programs. Our Kids Count students, they really enjoy this program. We're trying to get them to be comfortable with math. We don't want them to be afraid of math. Surprisingly, I was one of those kids that hated math when I was growing up. I didn't think I was good at it because I wasn't like one of those quick math facts kids who can do all the multiplication tables all fast. And I thought math was how fast you could do math. That was your answer. And I never liked math when I was a little girl. And so I'm glad that we have that Kids Count program to build kids' confidence in math. In our Sankofa program, I've told you about some of the successes there. In our middle school program, after school program, that's really a good time to mentor students as well. And one of the things I just want to mention is that in the work that we do, it's more than just teaching. It is mentoring. We have had little boys come to us and tell us that they want to commit suicide. Like, they're 12 years old and they're tired of living. And I think, wow, if you can, with all that you're going through, and you still get up every day and come to school. You come to that after school program, and you don't tell anybody in that school, but you tell the people that work with me, because really, like Jay and some of those young men that work for me, they're the only black male in the school. And we don't have the resources to help every child, but we can direct them to the appropriate resources to get the help they need. So sometimes this is even a mental health thing. Again, we have our SAGE program where we teach science during the school day. Oftentimes in schools, whether they may not have any teacher, like they'll have a sub all year, or they'll be in a K-8 school where there's only one teacher and they're supposed to teach all the subjects in 7th, 8th grade, and they don't know science. Or you might have a first-year teacher who's just getting started and really needs some supports. And then, of course, we have our high school program. That program is a couple years old, and it's just getting started, but we're really excited about that as well. I'm going to play a video in a minute, but I just wanted to put this out here. It's just sort of a plug for STEM Greenhouse. You might think, oh, she got some nice videos. She's serving thousands of kids. Money just must be flowing from every angle. No, that's not the case. I would say state funding is probably less than 5% of our budget. GRPS is probably less than 10% of our budget. We rely a lot on foundations and individuals. And so I'm here to just make a plea, as if you know organizations that want to do this kind of work, please reach out to me. And I will also say one of the things that's difficult for STEM Greenhouse is that there really are no other organizations like us. So that's why we can't get a lot of state funding, because state funding isn't designed to support organizations like me, because there's really no other ones. Organizations that are teaching in places where the school really should make up, but the school doesn't have the ability to do it. Same thing with the school district. Like they're supposed to be teaching, so they don't really have a lot of money set aside for somebody else to come teach. So yeah, until things change, or if you got a state representative, someone in your, that I can talk to, please connect me. Okay, I got one more video for you. And this video, many of you have seen before. Well, some of you, but it's one of my favorite ones. This features my after school middle school program. Oops. Now, I went to Dickinson Academy, by the way. This was the first school I started with. That's the old Dickinson and me in 3rd grade, so. It's so much fun. I did want to mention this because many of you know that now the state of Michigan, nationally, we are in education, we're ranked 44th in the nation. I was reading a report about Michigan children, and last year, half of the babies born in Michigan were on Medicaid. Now just imagine if all of those babies stayed on public assistance their entire lives. Their housing, their food, their Medicaid, Medicare, medical care. If we supported them their entire lives, it's not sustainable. You know, sometimes I wonder, like, what are we waiting for? Like, could it get any worse, really? We have gotten beyond a place where equity in education is just something nice to do. We're going to give you the education that you deserve, you know, because because it's fair or because of justice. We're at a place where we have to give poor children and make sure children of color have a quality education because it's a sustainability strategy. Like, we are not going to be able to survive unless every child gets a good education. The way demographics are shifting, ever since 2014, children of color have been the majority of children in our public schools. And our education system is really designed for white children. So anyway, one of the things I just want to close on is that in our programming, especially Sankofa, we say it takes a village. You know, we cannot send our kids to a school and expect them to educate them, feed them, give them morals and values and everything. Like, there are other organizations that have to partner, and we cannot continue to do the same thing. You know, what we've done for the last 200 years, we cannot keep doing that into the future. And so that's why STEM Greenhouse is here and other organizations to really help build a community of support for our students. So that's all. Thank you very much. And if there's any questions, you know.
Yes, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll bring you the mic.
So Kelly, where would like a place like Grand Rapids Public Schools go to find some of these certified teachers in science and math?
Okay, well, because sometimes people are questioning, like, how do you find all these Black people who are certified in math and science? Part of the problem is pay. And I'm not paying a lot of money, but I'm paying a living wage. And, you know, if the public schools has a $38,000 starting salary, a lot of people are not going. If you pay people, they'll do the job. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a big part of the problem is teacher pay. And that's really what they're struggling with right now.
So you kind of touched on it, like, throughout, as far as the children that you're working with and their home environment, what that's like. Is there part of your program that does reach back out and try and involve family, or even if it's foster care, and keep them, you know? So right now I'm a student of early childhood education, and so that's a big thing where, you know, you always want to partner with the family, make sure they're echoing at home what you're, you know, instilling on them. Is there something that you do to reach like that?
You know, I don't know if I have the supports that I need to really get into some of the family dynamics that our kids are facing. I have some children who just have parents who just don't participate at all. Like in our summer academy, we say that we require for every parent to go to the parent meeting, and the parent will not come. But if that kid continuously shows up, we support them anyway. Now, this does not mean every parent is terrible. We have some very good parents, but you know, like, we try to show up, okay, conference time. We try to incentivize them to come to conferences, give them gift cards, whatever. And it's also something that it's harder as the kids get older. You know, our high school parents, I don't know what's wrong with high school parents. Well, I have to say, every time I get a text message from East Kenwood High School, I don't even open it up. I'm like, if you don't just, you know, you're gonna have to call me or something, because I'm not looking at my text messages. But when they were little, maybe I did. And as the kids get older, I think parents just tend to back away a little bit. what I'm saying is it is very difficult to connect with parents, and they're working, oftentimes working a lot of jobs. Some kids have parents who just are not available because of maybe substance abuse. Sometimes there's fear because of parents' status, legal status. There's a lot of barriers that prevent parents. Sometimes a parent is just not comfortable because if they don't have a lot of education, and there's just some fear stepping out in some of these spaces. So it's a lot of barriers. It's hard. I wish I could say I had the magic bullet, but if you find somebody who really knows how to engage parents, let me know. Anybody else? Oh, no.
First of all, thank you so much for this information. I saw that you work at the Academy Bilingual.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a lot of parents with those kids who don't speak the language or speak English. So maybe that's like a struggle or something, a barrier that they might not, they want to participate however they can because obviously they don't know English. So it's like, okay, you go to this meeting, you might not understand what they're talking about. Is there like a way that they can have like translators, translate to them so they can participate and be more involved in their kids' activities?
Yeah, and in fact, 2 of our staff do speak Spanish, and we make sure we translate all of our communications to Spanish. However, we have students whose parents speak other languages too. A lot of African immigrants, and we don't have enough supports. We used to have someone who speak like, I forget the name. If you're from Rwanda, that was a country that we had a lot of students from, but. That is part of it, but we found also, so for example, we might have kids in our after-school program that won't participate in the summer just because their parents are unsure or scared to let them go to a program that's not at their school. And that is a cultural and barrier that we probably work harder at trying to ensure that other kids, that their parents feel comfortable. So just because they get it in Spanish is not enough, we want them to feel comfortable letting us be with their students in the summertime. But I find that really what has helped me are those parents that are like, who speak Spanish telling other parents, this is a safe space for kids. I've gotten more that way just through the community of Spanish speaking parents than any communication I've done, so. Anything else? Oh, you're welcome. It's a joy. It's stressful too, though. Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question around, you have some paid staff work for you or in these schools doing this programming. Are there pathways for volunteer tutors, I'm thinking like undergrad students who are in the area who are good at math, who enjoy science, who want to try teaching, and what kinds of opportunities exist for those kinds of engagement opportunities?
Well, we do have some paid college students who, volunteer. We don't do a lot of tutoring. We tend to just do teaching, but I will say that I'm more interested in younger people tutoring than older people. I'm sorry, most of you are too old. Like, our kids do not even want to, they don't even, like, the younger people are cool. So if you got college students who want to volunteer, we're at Central, which is not far from here, but our middle schools are not too far either. So if you know some students that might be interested in doing that, one of the things we like to do with college students as well is just have them come in to speak to the kids about the college experience, because we want them to know other people who want to go to college and are very similar to them. So reach out to me, especially if you have a good pathway or connection with a lot of college students. I would love that.
Any other questions?
All right. Well,
Okay,
thank you so
thank
much.
you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Okay, on behalf of the Woodrick Center and GRCC, thank you so much, Dr. Christopher, for being here. Thank you all for attending, for your thoughtful questions. We hope you enjoyed your time, but we'll call it a day. Thanks.